Thank you for joining Utah State University Extension on this webinar titled Choosing, Using, and Funding POS Equipment. This is a last webinar of a four-part series that shared how to become a SNAP authorized retailer and to accept SNAP as a direct marketing farmer who operates either a community-supported agriculture program, farm stand, or farm store business. We are recording this webinar and we'll share our presentation slides, Zoom chat, and resources to anyone who registered for our webinar. I'm excited to be here with you today. I'm Dr. Kelsey Hall with Utah State University Extension. I'm an associate professor of agricultural communication, and I'm a local food marketing specialist. Since 2008, I started working with CSAs and farm stands to accept SNAP and to work on business models that would help them sell locally in their communities in Ohio, Texas, and Utah. I've also worked with our SNAP education program in Utah, working with our farmers markets on outreach and communication to SNAP shoppers and how we can be offering recipes and information that encourages them to shop at our farmers markets and to use their produce. I'm joined here today with two guests that I will have introduce themselves. Gina?
Hi, my name is Gina Cornea, and I am the Executive Director of Utahns Against Hunger, which is a statewide policy advocacy group that works to increase access to food through advocacy, outreach, and education. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Schomburg. I'm a regional representative with the MARKETLINK program. We are a grant program of the USDA and the National Association of Farmers Market Nutrition Programs. In my role, I liaise with farmers and farmers markets to help them get set up with our grant program, which provides free SNAP processing equipment to farmers and direct marketing farmers. I also work with nonprofits, government, and university agencies nationwide, working with farmers and markets locally to get the word out about our program. Today I will be covering app-based SNAP processing options, both the MARKETLINK grant and opportunity for purchase options. Thank you, Kelsey, and Utah State Extension for inviting me to speak.
This is our agenda for today's webinar. We want to briefly share information about our webinar series and work that we're doing at Utah State University. We're also going to dive a little bit into what is SNAP, as well as options for point of sale equipment, and then funding options for POS equipment. We're going to share with you some resources and have time for questions and answers throughout the webinar. We encourage you to ask questions, and we do have time set for answering them during the webinar. We will mute our participants and just reduce possible background noise. So the chat in Zoom will help us respond to your questions and to share links to our resources. So during the presentation, please use our Zoom chat to post your questions. Reagan Emmons, our Farmers Market Promotion Program Grant Coordinator, will moderate these questions and then ask them to our speakers. And if you have a question that Reagan can't answer, she will respond to you in the chat. Let's just take a moment to use our chat feature by having you share with us by typing the state in which you reside. We have guests with us today from Washington, Montana, Pennsylvania, Missouri, Indiana, Washington, D.C., Florida, Kansas, Utah, Oregon, and Tennessee. So we're spread all across the country, and I'm excited to share information with you. Utah State University's faculty and community partners applied for a Farmers Market Promotion Program grant from the U.S. Department of Agriculture in 2018. And this webinar is part of a training series that's focusing on how SNAP works with community supported agriculture programs, farm stands, farm stores, and our farmers markets. Our grant team also designed and implemented a statewide marketing campaign that encouraged SNAP participants to shop at farmers markets and farm stands during the 2019 and 2020 market season. We've used social media posts, ads, mobile ads, posters, mailers, bus ads, and radio ads to specifically target SNAP participants from May to October in Utah. This work really would not be possible without several collaborators. Utah State University's sustainability and Create Better Health Extension programs collaborate with the Utah Department of Health and Utahns Against Hunger on our FMPP grant. We've worked together to administer our direct marketing farmer trainings, to promote our marketing campaign, and then to share updates on SNAP and the Double Up Food Buck redemption at our farmers markets and farm stands in Utah. And as part of a grant, we also established the Utah Farmers Market Network. And we work with our managers of farmers markets to offer them training, networking opportunities, and resources. We've talked a lot about ourselves, but we really want to get to know more about you. So I'm going to launch a Zoom poll. And I just would love to have you answer 2 questions for us. We would like to know if you operate a CSA, a farm stand, a farmer's market, an on-farm store. It may not be applicable. And then tell us if you're already accepting SNAP or you're interested in SNAP, or if that's also not applicable. Thank you for taking that poll. We do have representation from farm stands, farmers markets, on-farm stores. Many of us may be affiliated partners that want to learn more so that we can provide support in our state. We do have one that's already accepting SNAP and so a few that are already interested in accepting it. Thank you for providing that information. It just gives us a bit of a scope to know who we're sharing information with and a little bit more about you. So in this section of the webinar, we just want to provide information about the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. SNAP does provide nutrition assistance to eligible low-income individuals and households in need. SNAP is our nation's largest nutrition program, formerly known as food stamps. The program is administered by the Food and Nutrition Service, an agency of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Every 5 years, SNAP is reauthorized by Congress as part of our Farm Bill. The reauthorization establishes who is eligible for SNAP and addresses program access, benefit levels, and other matters. EBT, which is our electronic benefits transfer system, is available, SNAP, that is, in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and Guam. It has been the sole method for accepting and issuing benefits since June of 2004. It is important to understand that our SNAP program is federally funded, but it is state administered. And so our states contract with individuals to operate their electronic benefit transfer processors and to offer their services. It's important to know who is in charge of that in your state. Because we do come from a variety of states in this webinar, I would encourage you to visit the Farmers Market Coalition state-by-state SNAP resource list, and you can look up your own state and get that information to know who in your state is operating your SNAP program, because they do provide support for farmers markets and direct marketing farmers. I want just to have you have an understanding of how SNAP works. So eligible individuals and families with low income will use an electronic benefit transfer card or EBT card. It's similar to a debit card to purchase eligible food at SNAP authorized vendors. Now, each state has a different name for the EBT card, and in Utah, we're known as the Horizon EBT card. And SNAP participants can use their EBT card to shop at any SNAP authorized retail store, farmer's market, farm stand, farm store, mobile market, or to purchase a community-supported agriculture share. As SNAP participants would approach you as a SNAP authorized retailer with their card and the items they want to purchase. As a retailer, we are restricted to what are SNAP eligible food items and what are not eligible items for spending SNAP benefits. You may have to separate out those items at checkout, but you would take their EBT card and swipe it at the time of the sale, and then the funds are debited from the SNAP participant's EBT account, and you will be have those funds deposited in your bank account. And this can take sometimes 2 days as a direct marketing farmer to see those funds appear. This is just kind of some general background information, but I do think it's important to understand maybe the scope of SNAP and the impact it can have on our residents in the United States. SNAP provides benefits to approximately 38 million people nationwide, according to USDA data as of July 10th, 2020. And an increasing percentage of these individuals are shopping at farmers markets and farm stands. And according to the USDA, SNAP redemption at our farmers markets and farm stands has increased dramatically within the last decade. SNAP sales at farmers markets across the country have already increased over 35%, just from 4.2 million in 2009 to 24 million in 2018. And that's just the current number I have from the fiscal year 2018 report published by the USDA this year. We are residing in Utah State University and in Logan, Utah. And so I wanted to provide perspective of how this could impact Utah. Currently, we do have farmers markets and a few farm stands accepting SNAP, but we don't really have a majority of our farm stands, and we have 0 community supported agriculture programs accepting SNAP. And there's an opportunity here for direct marketing farmers, because 11.5% of Utahns, that's more than 350,000 people, are experiencing some form of food insecurity. Many of those are participants in the SNAP program, and we have about 159,000 plus participating as of June. They have families with children or those with a disability or members that are 60 or older that are benefiting from participating in SNAP because of food that they can get, whether that be fruits, vegetables, dairy, meat, breads, grains, coffees, honey, or other SNAP eligible items. Now, there are a lot of reasons for why you might want to benefit from accepting SNAP at your CSA program, a farm stand, or a farm store. And I just really briefly wanted to go over these. Accepting SNAP can increase your sales and expand your customer base. More customers can increase the dollar amount they spend with you when they use their SNAP benefits. And your acceptance of SNAP can improve food access and food insecurity in your community. You are also adding to the health and well-being of SNAP shoppers by providing greater access to fresh, locally grown fruits and vegetables. Additionally, the relationships with SNAP participants can build a stronger sense of community, and we can share information about our farming practices and about agriculture and about what we can offer for those fruits and vegetables. And there are some increased marketing opportunities. We have a lot of organizations that focus around food access that want to make sure they connect with SNAP shoppers with farmers that accept SNAP benefits. And so we can partner with organizations like Utahns Against Hunger or our food pantries, the Utah Department of Workforce Services, and other businesses like, or organizations like churches and YMCAs and libraries and different places that can help increase awareness of where SNAP customers can shop with their benefits. And that's just going to provide for you guys some marketing opportunities because they have access points to SNAP shoppers. While there are some wonderful benefits to accepting SNAP, we do need to just acknowledge some of the barriers that can prevent farmers from accepting SNAP. And they're typically related to business management, access to the technology, or to maybe marketing. And so your location of your farm or CSA pickup could be restrictive to prevent SNAP participants because of the driving distance. Store hours or pickup times for a CSA could conflict with them. But one of the biggest barriers we see in research and working directly with our farmers has been the issues with electricity or cellular service. The existence of electrical outlets or cellular service is needed to be able to operate our equipment, which is called a point of sale terminal, to be able to process our EBT cards. And those costs of the POS terminal to accept SNAP benefits can be prohibitive, but we hope that in today's webinar, we can share with you some of the options available to you, as well as ways that you can fund the point of sale equipment. Sometimes a small customer base could also prevent a direct marketing farmer from wanting to accept SNAP benefit. Even if it is a small number of residents that could benefit from the service, there are some of those benefits like building of community and being able to share access to fresh fruits and vegetables that can make it worth accepting of SNAP. I just wanted to walk through the steps for how you would have to start accepting SNAP as a direct marketing farmer. And the first thing you would need to do is to apply to the USDA FNS, the Food and Nutrition Service, to become an authorized SNAP retailer. And you can complete that application online, as well as submit your supporting documents with that application. There is no fee for processing your application to be approved, but you do have a wait period. It's roughly 45 days to 60 days to be approved. And in that time, you can do some research so that you can obtain a point of sale terminal. And that's one of the focuses of our research, of our webinar today, is to talk about ways for you to obtain a POS system or point or equipment. The next step would be to choose a service provider. And that service provider is going to help manage and maintain your POS equipment. It's going to help route EBT and commercial credit or debit transactions. And it's going to help settle transaction amounts to your retailer bank accounts. Today's last step is promoting the acceptance of SNAP, which is not part of today's webinar. So let's just share some of the focus of our presentation today, which is the fact that once you receive your SNAP permit to be an authorized retailer, you'll have to consider how you want to accept your SNAP benefits. And certain retailers, they're called exempt retailers, are eligible for free state-supplied point of sale or POS equipment. And exempt retailers do include farmers markets and direct marketing farmers. Point of sale equipment is used to process our transactions through the use of the EBT card, but it can also process debit or credit cards and then be able to put those funds into your bank account. The terminals or point of sale equipment can be wired, wireless, or an app. And so we want to take some time in this lecture, in this webinar, and just review those items. If you have face-to-face contact with your SNAP shoppers, as well as electricity and a phone line at your farm stand, your farmer's market, your farm store, or your CSA pickup location, you can use an EBT only or SNAP only wired machine. Now, by law, states are required to supply no-cost options for direct marketing farmers to accept SNAP. One of the pitfalls or cons of this option is that the state-only, EBT-only terminals do not have the capacity or capability to accept debit or credit cards. So if you are interested in accepting something more than just SNAP or EBT cards, then there are wired terminals where you can accept SNAP, debit, and credit cards. Now, with that, it has the same restriction of the fact that you would need a telephone line and electrical outlet. What is a bit different is when it comes down to credit card transactions. Sometimes these credit card transactions can be very unpredictable because it's a flat fee and percentage charge of the sale that you are handling. And that percentage charged from the sale will vary depending on the type of credit card it is. Another option you could use is a wireless terminal. And with a wireless terminal, if you have a cell phone with good reception at your location, then you could use that to process a payment. Now, wireless terminals can be EBT only, but they could also accept credit and debit cards. One of the cons or difficulties with using the wireless terminal is the fact that they are more expensive. And so I would encourage anybody to think about your business model and to think about what you sell as products. And if you happen to have higher valued items like meat, cheese, other dairy products, specialty items that are SNAP eligible, you may be easier to accept and be able to afford a wireless terminal. But oftentimes for direct marketing farmers where they are only doing fruits and vegetables, which tend to be what I would consider a lower price point, you may only want to offer SNAP or maybe SNAP and debit as an option to help think about the expense. And so that's just something for you to kind of consider and do a cost analysis to help determine what would be the best situation for your business. But I want to turn it over to Lauren to talk about the app-based SNAP option available to you.
Great, thank you, Kelsey. So as I mentioned in my introduction, I will be covering app-based SNAP processing options. And what we mean by app-based processing is that the customer uses an application that is downloaded to an Apple or Android smart device to accept SNAP and other electronic payments. So you can see here on the slide, this is the interface of TOTILPAY Go. So you can see the login screen, and to the right of that, the payment options screen. So kind of gives you a sense of what this would actually physically look like. So this would be an app that is downloaded onto a smart device. TOTILPAY Go is a product of tech company Novadia Group, and it is the only app available that can be used to accept SNAP payments. Next slide, please. So a few other things to note about TOTILPAY Go. It is a rebrand of Mobile Market Plus, which is being phased out, but some customers are still using. So I'm sure someone out there in the webinar is familiar with Mobile Market Plus. It is a really similar app, and we are working on phasing out that and moving customers over to TOTILPAY Go. To get set up with TOTILPAY Go, you must first be approved by USDA FNS as an authorized SNAP retailer. Novadia Group is now an authorized third-party processor. So if you do decide to use the TOTILPAY Go app to accept SNAP payments, you do not need to seek out and identify a separate third-party processor. It's kind of an all-in-one scenario. So versus the wired or wireless equipment where you'd need to get that third-party processor like WorldPay, you don't have to do so with Novadia Group. TOTILPAY Register is another app-based product of Novadia Group that allows the customer to add inventory similar to Square Register, but it can accept SNAP payments as well.
So what we would like to do now is transition from talking about the types of point of sale equipment that you could choose from to the funding options for affording the POS equipment.
Great. Thank you for transitioning us, Kelsey. I'm now going to cover how different types of customers can get set up with the TOTILPAY Go app and corresponding equipment. So there are two sort of routes you could take depending on your business type and other eligibility factors. First, there is the MARKETLINK grant, which is a grant opportunity for farmers markets and direct marketing farmers. And then second, I'll cover kind of what to do if it's a paid option if you're not eligible for MARKETLINK or other grants offered in your state. And please note that some states, in addition to the wired equipment, have free wireless equipment. That resource that Kelsey linked to, Farmers Market Coalition, has some good information. I do always encourage all customers that come to MARKETLINK to check out their state program first, because they actually provide wireless devices, so it may be a better deal for the market or customer. So just keep that in mind. Always research what your state offers before coming to us. We're a national program. So MARKETLINK is a grant program of the National Association of Farmers Market Nutrition Programs. We have a cooperative agreement with USDA to carry out the National Free SNAP Equipment Processing Program for farmers and farmers markets. The only eligibility requirement is that the business is designated as a direct marketing farmer or farmers market, and this will happen on the SNAP retailer application. You have to have one of those designations, and that they have also not received free equipment from their state free equipment program. So we are a partnership between NAFMNP, USDA Food and Nutrition Services, and Novadia Group. NAFMNP is a national organization founded in the early 90s along with the Farmers Market Nutrition Programs. We work with the administrators of the Farmers Market Nutrition Programs across the country, with approximately 45 state agencies participating in the organization. As Kelsey discussed earlier, FNS is the agency within USDA that administers SNAP nationwide. And lastly, Novadia Group is an Austin-based tech company that provides software equipment and assistance. Their flagship product, TOTILPAY, formerly known as Mobile Market Plus, is an all-in-one user-friendly point-of-sale app that accepts SNAP, WIC in some states, and also credit and debit. So what does the MARKETLINK grant cover exactly? This is probably the most common question that we get, because it is a little bit different than some of the other iterations of free machine programs. So we provide technical assistance with the SNAP retailer application. I'll cover that a little bit later. We provide a free Bluetooth card reader and 1 year free of the TOTILPAY Go app. So there is a monthly fee to use the app, which we cover for 1 year. And then we cover the cost of the card reader, which is about $90. And that card reader pairs to a smart device via Bluetooth. The other thing that this program and Novadia Group have done away with is the third-party processing and the per transaction processing fees for SNAP. So Kelsey was referencing earlier that frequently there is sort of a base price for the transaction, plus a percentage of the sale. Novadia Group just charges, or TOTILPAY Go just charges the monthly fee for the service of using the app, and then there's no per transaction fees. We've also obtained a printer waiver from USDA for all MARKETLINK grantees, so there's no printed receipt requirement. There is an option within the app to give text or email receipts. So MARKETLINK grantees don't need a printer, they don't need to purchase it, they don't need to keep up with the paper. We also have the option to add integrated credit debit processing with discounted rates through Square. Support services are valued at about $400. It's a relatively small grant, but it's a good way for especially direct marketing farmers that may be unsure of how big their customer base might be to try it for a year, without putting in a whole lot of time, money, and effort. Okay, next slide, thank you. So MARKETLINK is what we are calling a bring your own device program. And what this means is that the customer needs to provide a smart device to download the app. So we don't actually provide any devices. The customer will need to have an Apple or Android device that's operating system 11 for Apple or operating system 5 for Android or higher, of course. They will also need to figure out how to connect their device to the internet on their own. So the app will need to be connected to the internet to accept a payment. So some markets have Wi-Fi and they just connect to that. Some farmers might be in the middle of nowhere. They can decide what service works best for their location and get a data plan. Again, we don't cover the cost of the device or the internet service. The customer needs to do that on their own. So as I mentioned, you can also accept credit and debit using the TOTILPAY Go app. You just need to get a Square account and then you integrate that Square account directly into the TOTILPAY Go app. You don't have to toggle between TOTILPAY Go and Square. It's all in one app. You do have to purchase a card reader from Square because our readers are not encrypted to take Square credit debit payment. Okay, so as I mentioned previously, we do have a pretty large suite of technical assistance services. So in addition to providing discounted SNAP processing equipment, we also offer a service to help farmers and direct marketing farmers. And frankly, anyone really working with farmers, we can help get them authorized to accept SNAP by assisting them with the SNAP retailer application from start to finish. So the way that works is that folks make appointments with either me or one of our other regional representatives, and we can walk them through the entire process. We actually do the application with an internal MARKETLINK account, so we can kind of track their progress, make sure we get all the documentation, make sure the questions are answered accurately. So that's been really helpful, especially for folks that are maybe not super computer savvy or worried that it's this big prohibitive thing to get through to accept SNAP. So I think that's been really great for folks. And that link on the slide is where you can book those appointments. Feel free to share that around. Okay, so we get this question a lot too. What happens after the first year of the grant? So again, we're only covering the first year of the license fee. So if a customer does decide to continue, they will have to purchase a license from Novadia Group. The cost for that is $19.95 a month. And seasonal operations can purchase it just for the month that they're in operation. They don't need to pay for the entire year. But if there is a year-round operation, they get a 10% discount for paying up front for the year. As far as the card readers go, those are for the customer to keep. So once we give those out, they can keep those. And then the transaction fees stay the same. So still $0 per transaction for SNAP, and then those are the discounted rates for Square. So we have kind of broken this up into a 4-step MARKETLINK process. Step 1, we like to get folks in our system, so apply for a grant at marketlink.org/apply. Step 2, become a SNAP authorized retailer, and again, we have technical assistance to help with this step. Many customers come to us with this step already completed, and they indicate that in their eligibility application. So they just get fast tracked to step 3 is basically how that works. So step 3, set up your merchant accounts with Novadia Group. That's where you give them your bank information and they will set you up with an account and instructions on activating your device so it's ready to go to take payments. So yeah, step 4, receive and set up your equipment, which the equipment is really just the card reader that comes in the mail, and then a set of instructions to make sure that your device is activated. Okay, so just real quickly, I'll cover some paid options. Some things we've run into is like food hubs or aggregators that aren't designated as direct marketing farmers, but they want to accept SNAP on the go. So we do have some paid options if that's the case. So yeah, again, these are available to all their business types or farmers and farmers markets that want a secondary SNAP processing option, which Kelsey mentioned has come up at some point in her work. So, you know, sometimes maybe the customer will get a set of equipment from the state, but they're also maybe selling at another farmer's market at the same time. They wouldn't be eligible for the MARKETLINK grant, but they could come to us and or come to NovaDia Group and purchase a license to use their phone to take payments. So yeah, a few things of note about the paid option. It's not covered under the printer waiver. So you'll see the cost for the equipment is a little bit higher because they have to purchase that printer. However, the per transaction processing fees are still $0 per transaction. So the customer would just pay the license fee, which I think I cover on the next slide. So this is kind of the breakdown of what a customer would pay if they came in as ineligible for MARKETLINK. So if they're an ineligible farmer's market or farmer, they get the discounted $19.95 a month rate. If they're an ineligible other business type, you'll see it's $29.95 a month. Same cost for both. For the hardware, obviously cost of device plus internet still applies, still a bring your own device. I do think NovaDia Group may have some options for purchasing devices, but you'd need to contact them directly because we don't really do much with the paid customers. The thing I have highlighted there is for, let's say if this is a MARKETLINK grantee that wants a second set of equipment, they're still covered under the printer waiver. So they would just need to purchase the additional license and the additional card reader. So here's a summary of TOTILPAY Go processing fees. Again, $0 per transaction, and then the Square credit debit fee you can see is just a couple cents higher per transaction. So paid customers would not be eligible for that discounted rate. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time on TOTILPAY Register just because it's a little bit outside of my expertise. It's really designed for more traditional business types, but I wanted to let you all know it is an option because they do have discounted rates for farmers markets. You can visit the TOTILPAY Register website for more details. And here are those discounted fees. Again, I'm not fully familiar with all that goes into setting up a register account, but it is app-based and you can accept SNAP using it. So it is an option if you're looking for something that will track inventory. How to purchase a paid option. If you're a new customer, you'll do that directly through the NovaDia Group website. If you're already a customer with NovaDia Group, you can add additional licenses and purchase additional equipment through your existing mobile EBT account. And that will make sense if you're a customer. But if anyone has questions about that, please let me know. Otherwise, that's all I have today on app-based processing and the MARKETLINK grant. Thank you all for your participation, and thank you to Kelsey and the organizing team. Yeah, please let me know if you have any questions.
One last slide about statewide opportunities. In 2019's fiscal year, the FNS did offer states an opportunity to obtain funding to provide direct marketing farmers and farmers markets with equipment that can be used to process SNAP transactions, but not the debit credit transactions, at no cost to these direct marketing farmers or farmers markets. 29 states asked and received funding. And I also know that there are several states offering free wireless EBT equipment to eligible markets and to direct marketing farmers. So I encourage you to check the Farmers Market Coalition state-by-state SNAP resource list. That what it will do is when you go to this site, it will show you state by state all of the information for your location, and then you can contact them and learn more about what your options are and where you can obtain POS equipment and services by going to your state contact for EBT. If you already have equipment, I would talk to your current processor about programming and what your current equipment is and see if you can add the EBT option. I know this is sometimes the situation for farm stands where they have already been accepting credit and debit cards, and now they want to accept EBT, and they would just work with their current processor to see what options are available. Gina, I would love for you to share more about Utah's funding options for our POS equipment.
Great. Thank you for inviting me and having me on the webinar today. And I want to apologize ahead of time. I am working from home, and sometimes my dog gets a little barky if the postal carrier shows up during the meeting. So just if you hear barking, I apologize. I'll try and make it through this without her protecting me. So Utahns Against Hunger for a number of years has managed a funding contract through our SNAP agency, which is the Department of Workforce Services. And that contract is to disperse the money that they got from the USDA, from FNS, for farmers market equipment. And that includes direct marketing farmers, so farm stands. And our process is pretty straightforward. It can only include equipment for SNAP-only transactions, but unlike previous funding that we have managed for the Department of Workforce Services, it covers a lot more costs. Previously, it only covered setup fees and the monthly data plans. Now it also covers transaction fees, which for most point of sale machines is between 10 and 17 cents per transaction. So you have to sort of guesstimate what those transactions might be, but the funding does cover those costs. Before markets apply for our funding, they do have to have their FNS number already secured, and so we encourage markets to do that as quickly as possible. That process can sometimes take a while, and our funding is available year-round, so you don't have to wait until just before your market starts in order to apply for that funding. And we have, our application is available on our website, and it's just a Google form. We ask for, the name of the market, the contact person, the dates your market runs, and then we also ask you to submit a budget. But we also have example budgets available for people who have not done that before. And unlike one of the other additional things that has changed with our funding that we have currently, it used to be that markets who were eligible could not have previously accepted SNAP funds. So markets that had broken equipment or a non-functioning machine would have to find other funding to replace their equipment. But this funding allows for markets to purchase replacement equipment as long as it is a SNAP-only machine. And you can just, if you're from Utah and you're interested in talking to us more, you can send us an email at info@uah.org. And unless there are any questions, it's not a complicated process.
We want to take a moment in this webinar and just share with you some of the resources available as you are choosing the POS equipment that you'd like to use and making some of those considerations. And so with USU Extension Sustainability, we have published all of our webinars on the Utah Farm Chef Fork website. And this webinar will be published there to access afterwards. I'm also going to provide several resources and an email, including a glossary of terms related to SNAP and EBT. For if you're new to this, sometimes having that glossary of terms can really help understand things. We're also going to be sharing information from the Utah Department of Health and the Utahns Against Hunger, and then MARKETLINK. You will receive the handbook as well as the flyer that helps you learn a little bit more about their grant program and their resources available for POS equipment and funding. And then I will also encourage you to look at some of the USDA resources. Some of them that are very valuable are the EBT website, as well as the SNAP Equipment Resource website. I've also found great value in the USDA SNAP EBT third-party processor list and guidance to retailers. I like this because for anybody that does need to work with a processor, it provides some questions to ask so that you can help make the best decision possible in terms of the equipment and what services you need. And so I find it just as a useful tool when reaching out and needing to understand more about a situation and follow up. Now, really what we want to do is open the webinar to questions.
Kelsey, we haven't had any new questions. We had a quick question about whether or not you can process EBT if you have an existing Square system, which you can't. But we also have Kim Lyons in the room, and I don't know if Kim, you're interested in sharing a little bit more about your comments, but I think we have time to do a little bit of that sharing.
Hi, Reagan. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
We can.
Okay. Nice to meet you, and thank you for allowing me to be on this call as well. We've actually worked with Utahns Against Hunger, and there are new terminals, there are point of sale terminals that are out, and we also now have an app called Healthy Ways that we can process with, that integrates with funding sources like Double Up Food Bucks and things like that. Not leading to it being Double Up Food Bucks, but matching dollars and different funding sources. So we're happy to say that. We've been in business for 29 years. We're very familiar with Josh and MarketLink. They've been around for a little while as well. And technology is changing. So the biggest general advice I could give to everyone is do your research. Make sure that if you're going to stay with your current merchant service provider, that they do understand what EBT SNAP is. If you make a phone call and they have no clue what SNAP means or EBT, you better be careful. And as far as wireless technology, there are changes coming with 3G moving to 4G and 5G connectivity. You know, find out what service is best in your area, whether that is AT&T or whether that is Verizon or whether that's T-Mobile. And if you do have a cell phone and a smartphone and you want to use an app, know that you have to have a point of encryption. And that's why everybody talks about point of sale terminals and apps with little readers, such as MarketLink has, is because that terminal requires a PIN number for the customer to enter their PIN number for their EBT card. So you have to have an encrypted mechanism by which that can be processed. So that's why one shoe doesn't fit everyone. And you have to kind of do the research based on where your market's at, where you're mobile, what your needs are. You may need an app, you may need an actual point of sale system if you don't want to leave your smartphone with the market when you leave. So those are things to kind of judge. And then as far as the fees and the processing fees, we do find that, you know, with the 20-some years, 29 years that we've been in business, that markets that have the ability to do EBT credit and debit tend to generate more sales entirely as a market. But we do understand the dynamics that a lot of markets don't want to do that. They want to put the cost factor, if you will, on the credit card side on the actual farmer. So we understand that models are different. Our point of sale terminals have changed from the old FD 410s and Clovers to app-based, and now we have PAX devices that are mobile as well. So you know, we've been doing it a long time. We're free to answer any questions. Our website is merchantsource.com. And we also have our Healthy Ways, WAYS, matter.com, which you can go read about our Healthy Ways app and give us a call if you have any questions about how it can do credit, debit, SNAP. So I can give you our phone number. Our office number is 1-800-313-5198. And we're happy to answer any questions about the differences in technology.
We have a question from Michelle Shippey, and I'm not sure I quite understand the question. So Michelle, if you can unmute yourself.
Hey, yeah, thank you. We had a farmers market forum here in Indianapolis earlier in the year, and somebody, representative from MARKETLINK, was there and was talking about there being some sort of integration or something with MARKETLINK and TOTILPAY for nutrition incentives. I mean, I know it looks different everywhere. I'm just thinking about those cities and states that sort of have nutrition incentives embedded in their EBT transactions. And so I wasn't sure if that's the case, if TOTILPAY has the capability with certain processors to add more funds to their EBT if they were to purchase produce from a certain farmer.
I think that this is Gina from Utahns Against Hunger. I think the biggest challenge with integrating nutrition incentives is working with whoever your SNAP agency is. For example, I know our Department of Health here wanted to be able to put double up food bucks on cards electronically, and that just presented some programming challenges that they just have not been able to figure that piece out, because you could add additional benefits to an EBT card, but how do you know which EBT customers to add them to? You could do it to everyone, but then that becomes a funding issue. And so I think that there are some programming challenges, at least in Utah, that has been the case, of adding benefits to the EBT card.
Yeah, and just real quick, I'll build on that, Gina. We are working on building out an e-incentive feature within the TOTILPAY Go app, but like you said, there are a lot of challenges to making this work. And really the model that we're working off right now is that individual farmers would have the TOTILPAY Go app, and then there would be a customer-facing app that would exchange the incentives back and forth. That's as simple as I can put it for now, because I don't want to spend a lot of time. But if somebody is interested in that, please reach out to us. We've done it with a couple small incentive programs, but it's still kind of in the early stages. But we are working on building that out. And I think Kim mentioned that they have something already built out, Healthy Ways, for incentive programs, which I'm not familiar with, so I don't want to speak on that, but I'd be happy if you wanted to share.
This is Kim Lyons. Thank you, Lauren. Yes, our Healthy Ways app is actually out. It's in the marketplace, and it was developed for the incentivized program to remove tokens, paper scripts. It does identify the funds. I'm going to use the analogy of a bucket, if you will. It does identify the funds that are being loaded into the card. We have a Healthy Ways card, which is also digital and can be co-branded. And it also, we're working on the, I don't know the right acronym for it, but the coding that when the funds are extracted, it will identify the bucket that it's coming out of. So we already have that app in play in Washington, D.C., Tennessee, Illinois, and so far it's been pretty successful. And we just started rolling it out when COVID hit. So go figure how that works.
And Kim, that's not putting benefits directly back onto the EBT card, correct?
It doesn't put benefits directly back onto the EBT card because we have so many organizations that have different funding sources. So it literally keeps their accounting records separate and clean, allowing them to identify easily the funding that came from and went back to that source.
Right. I think Massachusetts is the only state that's been able to put incentives back onto the actual EBT card. I don't think that's a widespread thing, but that's my limited knowledge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were, and we had a call with them, but they were the very first Finney HIP program. It's just very interesting, all the different ways. But thank you, Kim. I'll definitely reach out to you.
Okay, I do not see any additional questions, but I do want to just let you know that our contact information is on the slides as well as our webinar. So if you would like more information about MarketLink, you can contact info@marketlink.org. For those that are interested in applying for the funding that would help Utah farmers markets, direct marketing farmers to access POS equipment, you can reach out at info@uah.org. And you can also contact me at kelsey.hall@usu.edu, and we can continue our conversations. I will be sharing with you a brief webinar survey to seek out your feedback about the content and your experience. And so that will be part of an email, but you can access it and open up that survey on a mobile device using this QR code at that time. I want to leave our webinar thanking you for supporting SNAP at our CSAs, our farmers markets, farm stands, and farm stores. Your assistance and being able to help lower income individuals access SNAP eligible food items, particularly fruits and vegetables, does not go unnoticed. So thank you for being with us today. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Gina. I appreciate you both joining today and sharing information.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Kelsey.